It is so crazy to me that it's almost the end of 2018. I mean, what happened? Where are all the time turners? That's what I want to know. As the year gets closer to ending, I'm starting to think about what I want to do for next year. What are my 2019 reading goals? Maybe I should get organized about this. So I did sit down with my journal the other day and make a little bit of a list. I wanted to share that with you and maybe talk to you about what sort of plans you have, what your goals are going to be for the coming year. I always love to hear how different people are experimenting and growing through their reading. So definitely let me know, drop a comment below, and let's talk about it. The most obvious thing that most people plan out is their Goodreads challenge goals. So for the last 2 years, I have done 120 books for my goal, and I have yet to reach that. I doubt that it's going to happen in 2018 as well. The reason I do 120 is because it's totally possible for me to read 10 books in a month. I've done it before, I've done more than that. But the last 2 years, I've had 2 cross-country moves in both 2017 and 2018. So obviously that takes a lot of reading time away because you're driving a ton of miles, trust me. And I also got married in September, which was amazing. But once again, wedding planning takes a lot of time. So I definitely missed out, and I think I could have totally done it this year if the road trip and everything hadn't kind of taken away from it. So I think I'm gonna do this one more year, one more time. I'll give myself the chance to read 120 books in a year. We'll see if I can do it. I honestly feel like Goodreads challenges are up to the individual. There are some people who put really low Goodreads challenges in, and I'm more of the mind where I'd rather have something I can aspire to. I know that I might not make it, but that's okay. The pressure to read is only the pressure you put on yourself. I don't feel any pressure from being a book blogger, being a bookstagrammer, or now slowly becoming a booktuber. I think that if you want to read, read. If you don't want to read, then don't. That's a topic a lot of people seem to question is, do you feel pressure to read? And I mean, no, not unless it's me deciding that I want to read. So I think for 2019, I'm going to do this one more time, try to read 10 books a month, and if I don't, then there's really no pressure. I also want to say that the Goodreads challenge in itself has a few inherent problems, namely like the number of books is king, when in reality, if you're a person who reads really short poetry books or only middle grade books, then of course you're going to be able to read more book in number than anyone else because the books you're reading are so small and frankly simpler and faster to read. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you're studying the challenge, that's something to think about. I might this year, instead of just focusing on the number of books I'm reading, instead have maybe a page number by month goal that I try to meet. It's definitely a little more authentic, and I think my limit is around 4,000 pages, so I think that's interesting to know. It'll be interesting to see if I can push that at all. And I do think that that's a weakness in the Goodreads challenge itself. For instance, if you are a person who reads like really long epic fantasy novels, then those are like 700 pages. It would be insane for you to read 10 700-page books in a month. That would just be crazy. Like, I'm sure people can do it, but it's certainly not normal or average. I think we should all kind of give ourselves a break when it comes to that and realize that the Goodreads challenge isn't perfect in itself. I think it's a great way to set goals and to think about your reading throughout the year, but I just don't want to put like that much pressure on it, you know? That's it for my Goodreads challenge goals. 120 books for the year, an aspirational goal. I don't know if I'll hit it or not, but that's what it is. The next thing I was thinking about is something I really failed to do in 2018. In 2017, I made a list of classics I wanted to read over 2018, and I read like 3 of them. I really think that's for a few reasons. I might have chosen classics that were too intimidating. I also chose classics that I don't already have, so that just makes it harder. I have to like go out and find a classic, find an edition I like, and I think that just put too much pressure on it. So instead, for 2019, I'm just gonna list the classics I already have, and I'm gonna make it a lot shorter, because I think to put a pressure on yourself to almost have to read a classic every month, you're not always in the mood to do that. I go through phases with classics where sometimes I want to read like just classics and I can't get enough. But that's usually in the winter time, and then I'm kind of done, which is weird. I don't know. I just don't want to put that much pressure on reading classics because I'm weird, and I feel like the more pressure I put on things, the more I won't do it, if that makes any sense at all. But if I go in sort of like open-minded and feeling free, I'll probably read more than I intended. So that's sort of my little Jedi mind trick for myself this year is like make a list, have something to pull from, have them, like I'm gonna make their own little section on the shelf, but I'm not going to put so many on there that I feel like I have to read one every month and that it's this and deadlines and yada yada. I think that takes away from it. I definitely want to read more of the classics that I've had on my shelf for ages and then move forward into other classics that I can then buy and explore from there forward. But I have so many books on my TBR, I really want to pare that down. I don't like having a huge TBR. It stresses me out. I really like to have it small and contained, and I have my own little TBR shelf. So whenever that gets too big, it just stresses me out and I feel like I'll never ever finish it, and I don't like that feeling. So I just want to keep it contained to the books I already have, especially for classics. You've probably figured out by now that I'm a pretty well-rounded reader. Like I read almost everything and anything, and I really like that about myself. The only thing I really don't read is books that are heavy in romance. I tried once and it's really just not for me. But other than that, I really will read pretty much every genre, and I think that's really fun. But lately it's been a lot of fiction genres, and I feel for the first time since probably graduating university that I'm hungry. Like I'm hungry for nonfiction, but I'm not hungry for this sort of like modern nonfiction. To me, I don't know, it's kind of boring. I would rather read some nonfiction in the vintage books we have, because I kind of think that it'll be so fascinating to read older versions of nonfiction. Like we have a lot of old science vintage books. How cool would it be to like flip through those and read them and see how much perception has changed? I think that will be really fun. So I'm making it a goal this year to read more of our own vintage nonfiction that we already have. We have really cool vintage books that we've just picked up randomly over the years at like library book sales and stuff like that. And they just sit there, and it's not because we don't have an interest in them. It's just because they're not like new, they're not like popping, you don't see them advertised. So I kind of want to take a little bit of time and get back to the roots on those. I just think it'll be really fascinating. Like maybe we could make that a fun feature here on YouTube, but I'm gonna have to think about how I want to do nonfiction for recording, because I don't feel that nonfiction is like fiction, and the fact that when I'm reading a fiction book, I feel like I have to read the whole thing to make it count. I don't really feel that way about nonfiction, to be honest, especially with science books or reference books. I feel like if you read the majority of it, you've gotten the idea. And that maybe some people are like completely against that, but I have to decide if I'm going to count those books towards my overall goal or not. I'm leaning towards yes, but let me know what you think. I just feel like if you're reading the majority of a book, especially when it's nonfiction or reference or scientific, then you've gotten the gist and you really don't need to read like footnote to footnote, you know? So that's just me, and I'm not gonna put pressure on myself to finish nonfiction books like that. I'm just gonna sort of pick them up, flip through them. If I happen to read the whole thing, then cool. And if not, then I'm just gonna try to like get the core message and enjoy it for the sake of what it is. Now, this next statement is going to be a little bit contradictory to modern standards, but I realized something at the end of this year, and it was that I have barely read any books with a boy or a male at the center of the story. And I don't know why that is or what that happened. It's really cool to read so much women's fiction, like that's been really fun. But I realized in like December or November when we read Robin Hood, I was like, I really haven't read like a traditional hero story in a long time, and I kind of miss that. And I'm gonna try to even it out a little bit so that I'm getting both of those perspectives and both those different types of stories, both old school and new school. I don't know, it sounds really weird to like say that. I just want it to be more even, because it is different. It is a different experience. There's nothing wrong with that, and I just want to be able to have both. So I'm gonna kind of pay attention to that a little bit and try to branch out, because I think I'm getting like too comfortable in these little niches that I'm doing, which is like mystery thrillers with like women at the center. Like honestly, cannot remember the last mystery thriller I read with a man like as the focus at all. Can't remember one. So I want to fix that. Like I just gotta like branch out a little bit, especially because I'm starting to get like burnt out on the mystery thrillers, especially that have like just female dynamics or like the darker side of female friendships, which has been like a big theme in that genre. So I just gotta branch out. I'm just getting bored a little bit, and I want both perspectives. I want to be reading different types of things so that I can always enjoy the new books coming out, if that makes sense. back to Goodreads before we sign off of this thing. I just want to say that in 2017, I really wasn't using Goodreads consistently at all, and I did make it a goal to make sure I was marking everything I was reading on there. I did that, so I'm really proud of myself. And this year in 2019, I just want to like take that up a notch. I do review pretty consistently on Goodreads, but I noticed like on my blog and just in general, reviews take me the most amount of time. So I need to find a way to get more efficient at writing reviews. I'm gonna try to use Goodreads as a way to do that, and I'm gonna make like a rule for myself that I have to review everything. And I don't do that now because it just takes me so much time. But I'm gonna make a rule that I have to review everything, even if it's not a full-fledged review that I post on the blog and everything. I still am gonna make myself write even a few lines for every single book. So it'll be like, Goodreads will have my thoughts on everything, even if they're really brief, and it'll also have my full reviews, and the blog will just be like my full, polished, beautiful reviews that I love getting complimented on, I'm not gonna lie, because I put so much time on them. So when an author like writes back saying how much they loved it or that it really meant something to them, or people say like this was really beautifully written, that really means a lot to me. So if I feel something about a book that I think I can really write it well, I'm gonna absolutely keep doing that. But I need to take the pressure off of writing those full-fledged lovely reviews for everything, because there's no way in heck I could write a full-fledged review like the way I do it on the blog for every single book. Like that would be right now over 100 full-fledged reviews. I'm telling you, it's embarrassing, but they take me way too long. I don't know what it is. I can write like another article in like no time at all and be fine, but reviews, I like think really hard about it, and I feel so much pressure to make it good for whoever's reading it, because I want, like, my ultimate goal is to connect readers with their next great read. So I feel like whenever I write a review for the blog that's full-fledged, I just want to be a combination of thorough and not overwritten. That's really important to me, like as it says on my about page, and it's like core to like my motto of the blog. I want all my reviews to be really short and quick. There's no spoilers. I don't want to be overzealous. I'm not like that woman at your local book club who like goes crazy into detail. I'm not into it. I think it can ruin a book for someone who's looking to read it. I just want to give like thoughtful impressions of the book and what I would improve on it, what I liked about it, and that's really what it is. I just want to keep doing that. I just need to focus on what books I choose to spend that amount of time investing into writing a full review. But I do want to make sure that everything on Goodreads has a few sentences at minimum underneath it. I really haven't done that, and I really want to just like up the Goodreads game next year. So that is it. Those are my 2019 reading goals so far. I actually really want to talk to you about what you're doing next year. Like, I haven't really noticed many people discussing it yet, so like let's have a conversation. If you're new, say hi, because I think there are some new people thanks to April at Getting Hugga With It, who is amazing, and her videos make me feel so calm and comfortable. I love to watch them in the morning, so thank you, April, for shouting me out. That was so unbelievably kind, and I'm just so grateful. And if you're new and April sent you over, or if you're just new in general, like say hello, because I love talking to you guys. That's really what all of this is about to me. The blog, Instagram, YouTube, all of it is about connecting with other readers. So say hello, like I'm not that scary most of the time. So thanks so much for watching and tuning into this video about my 2019 goals. Hopefully I can accomplish even more next year. I always want to be doing better. And thanks just for being here with me. If you liked this video, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment below. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? If you want more bookish videos, book reviews, hauls, unhauls, all that stuff, just go ahead and press that subscribe button because I'm your girl. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.